Aloha, friends and neighbors. Rollin Frost here, Kona astrologer. Here again this week to try to give you an idea of what's happening up above and how it may or may not affect you here on the earth. Program 919. I got some interesting stuff to share. Come on, let's get after it. First, we're going to go over the sky mirror for you day by day and see what's going on. If by now you can read a little astrology, you'll see the little blue thing there, Venus, trine Mars. Kind of romantic this week. So I've drawn up a chart for you. What's really evident to me was the planet Uranus here governing everything from the homeless to the environmentalist to rationality to secular thinking is on an exact 150-degree angle to Saturn, which is the manager, the CEO. See the little seesaw here? That's 150 degrees. The seesaw means that either Saturn has power or Uranus has power, but they can't share power. No, one's up, the other's down. Then it reverses. It happens that right now Saturn is empowered and deals are being made by bankers and guys in suits with ties and stuff, and they don't give a hoot for the environment, the unions, the independent free-thinking people. Rationality goes by the boards and the guys in the suits make decisions about your life. Look out. Let's see what it looks like day by day. We're going to run the moon around the edge of this chart, and as it makes angles to things, I make little notes here. The blue ones are for sextiles and trines. Oh boy, ease, mellowness. The red ones are for oppositions and squares, tension, difficulties, obstacles. So as you start your day, Friday, the moon's in Capricorn, and it starts in the morning real early, kind of nice. There's a nice sextile to Neptune, and Neptune is doing better now. There's music, there's religion, there's art, there's sensitivity and compassion in the air since that new moon at 6 Cancer. So Friday morning could be really delightful till you get to the middle of the day, and then the moon goes by Pluto. Eek, a bug! A little panicky, huh? Not sure about things. Power and control issues. Territory. I've got cats running around the house protecting their territories, and they're starting to fight a little bit. Uh-oh. As you go through Friday, the 11th of July, in the evening, here's the square to Uranus. Eek, we all feel alone. What happened to rationality? It's not a pleasant situation. Saturn gets his way. You'll learn more about it Friday night. What are those guys doing? Making laws? Saturn's happy. He says, we'll get all those homeless people out of the tourist areas. Yeah, there is a square to the sun, or an opposition to the sun. Ooh, that's the full moon right there. It happens real late Friday night, almost early Saturday morning. And that full moon, kind of Saturn likes it. You know, Saturn says, oh yeah, this is going to be a good month for me. There's a square to Mars, difficulties with the young men and the sports, and the anger comes out. But that full moon means Friday night is extraordinary for accidents. The accident rate doubles. There was a study in Florida years ago on full moons and new moons, and the jails fill up and the emergency rooms fill up, and people are overreacting to things Friday night and through Saturday morning. So it's not a time for getting out and fooling around here. More better you sit down, go through the checkbook. That's what Saturn likes. Count the money, make sure you can pay the bills. Saturday doesn't get too much better as you go through it. Starts with the square to Mars, and it may be, soccer fans out there rioting or something, I don't know. But ask yourself what you're protecting if you're angry Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon and evening, there is an opposition to Jupiter. We're all trying to do too much, overdoing it. Finally, about dinner time here, the moon shifts into Aquarius. The vibes change. Much better. Rationality triumphs now. The mind. Yeah. And on Sunday the 13th, about dinner time here, there's a sextile to Uranus. We have an option to be the humanitarians and the environmentalists. And screw the politicians who are making money off all the homeless people. It's like that Saturday evening. And I like it, personally. Here's Monday morning. We have the trine to Venus and the trine to Mars. So Monday morning is the romantic time. It's very nice. You know, you ought to wake up early and stay in bed late. That's what Venus likes. And she's in a good mood right now. So make the best of Monday morning. Monday continues quite nicely. There's a nice trine to Mercury. Kids are happy in the afternoon and evening, and communication goes very well. The moon is shifted into Pisces the afternoon of Monday the 14th, and Pisces has Neptune there. Oh boy. So here Tuesday morning the moon goes by Neptune, and man, that's a, you know, art, music, religion. This is time to open up your higher heart and be compassionate about things. Your sensitivity is way up. Beware though, you know, you can smell the flowers. Oh, that's nice. You turn the corner and step in the dog shit, you're going to smell that just as strong. It's a two-edged sword, this sensitivity. So you got to be a little careful what you're doing. Your attitude is your free will, remember? Yes. So keep your attitude straight. You'll have a delightful Tuesday morning. Poetry, music, art, wonderful stuff. Continues through Tuesday afternoon. There's a sextile to Pluto here in the middle of the day. In the afternoon, discovery is going on. But then when you get to Tuesday evening, here's a nice trine to Saturn, and the guys in the suits say, we got the budget here, and there's that 150-degree angle to Uranus. Screw the environmentalists and the homeless and all those people who are trying to be secular. Yes, we're after that. We got the money, and we're going to make the rules. That's what Saturn's doing here Tuesday night. So everybody thinks they're proud of it. They feel pretty good Wednesday morning. Moon's still in Pisces. There's a trine to the Sun in the morning. And in the afternoon, there's a trine to Jupiter. People seem to be celebrating. But here's a nasty old square to Venus. There's no sugar. What happened to love? What happened to sweets? Can't get them Wednesday night. Nope. Early Thursday morning, the moon is shifted into Aries, a cardinal, a fire sign. We all feel energized, but Thursday morning, trouble communicating and transportating, tough to get around. We're starting to go into that Grand Cross zone, huh? And Thursday, in the middle of the day, here's a square to Pluto, little panicky. Eek, a bug! Territory! My territory, your territory. Not so good. Power struggles, huh? And it continues right through to the conjunction to Uranus, which is in the evening. And here is finally the environmentalists get a chance to speak up. The independent free thinkers. Yeah, the mind. It's all about the mind. It's not about belief. It's about rationality. Uranus is rationality. So it's kind of herky-jerky, and people get stuck, and there's a little panicky feeling and a feeling of aloneness Thursday. And, you know, you're getting used to this now. Huh? It was in Saturdays, work back to Fridays. Now it's working back into Thursdays. So Friday, the moon's still in Aries on the 18th. Middle of the day, the moon goes by the south node. We all feel like we need help a little bit. Doesn't get much better Friday night. The 18th, here's the nasty old square to the sun. No ambition, can't get nothing done. And then there's Mars. Mars is there with anger. Misplaced anger is what it is. And Jupiter isn't helping. So Friday night again, this 18th, not a good time to go out and expect to have fun. But here, really early Saturday morning, there is a sextile to Venus. Even though Mars was ticked off and angry Friday, wasn't getting his way, Venus is kind of sweet here. About 2 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, if you can stay up that late. Moon shifts into Taurus on Saturday the 19th. And sweets in the morning, religious feeling and sensitivity around the middle of the day with Neptune sextiles. So, kind of nice. Here's Mercury speaking right up, saying, I like Neptune, I like music. The kids will play music. Listen to the children on Saturday. You know, it's like Jesus talk, huh? And the kids are kind of naturally high like that. They understand these things when adults have been conditioned into our horrible money trips. There's a nice trine to Pluto here, Saturday evening. Discoveries happening. We feel powerful and in control. And Sunday morning on the 20th, July 20th, here's a square or an opposition to Saturn. We don't like what those guys are doing with their laws. Making more laws. More and more laws. What are you going to do? And they're misplaced, huh? These guys. Look at what happened to my pencil. It's got a termite hole in it. That's the way you might feel on Sunday morning, the 20th. Moon in Taurus. What the heck? Monday morning, you'll feel a lot better on the 21st. There's a sextile to the Sun and to Jupiter, and you got a plan, and you're optimistic, and you're up and going for it. And that's the way it is. This third week of July 2014. All right, just a quick reminder. Here's my ephemeris for July, and you can see a little R. That's where Uranus goes retrograde on Tuesday the 22nd. Over here is a little D. Hard to see. I'm sorry for scribbling all over it. That's Saturn. That's Saturn going direct on the 20th. So Saturn goes forward on the 20th. Uranus goes backwards on the 22nd. What that means is that Saturn's going to make rules and go, wow, here's this thing. We're going to make money. And it's at the expense of Uranus, the environment, the independence. Rationality is sacrificed. That's Uranus. But Uranus is retrograde, so it's going to come back and visit this place again. Saturn is not. Uranus returning to the same place means the environmentalists will have another chance at it. And the guys in ties, the money men, won't be there so strong. Anyway, I got one more little thing I got to do here. You guys are very close. The third week in July has the stations, and I covered this already. I think I said there could be some Neptune storm, Jupiter on Kauai. Anyway, you'll see that probably next week. But as far as hurricanes go, I still have a little bit more work to do here in December. And so I want to do some astrocartography and see if I can fill out this information a little bit, because this is unusual to see. Can we have a hurricane a few days before Christmas when Uranus stations? Somebody could. So I took the liberty of looking up some history and hurricane history. And here's when hurricanes were in the region of Hawaii, historically, all in December. And look, a lot of them are around December 22nd, 23rd, December 20th. And we don't have a date for the 1832 hurricane. There was also December 4th, a couple of hurricanes. in 1936, and here in 1983, and even January 9th in 1989. So it's not unheard of. You know, the mainstream media keeps telling you that the hurricane season is from here to there and only goes to November 30th. Well, look out. Here's proof that it can go a little further. And so this station I have down here for December, excuse me, here's my notes. This station originally happened on July 17th. Uranus is funny. He stops, and then he goes forward. And the place where he stops here, he goes up, and he comes back, and he goes through there again, and then he comes up, and he comes back, and he stops at the same place. So the station in Christmas here, our Christmas station actually happened July 17th, 2013. You go back and look, see where the earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes were then. Well, that same location will have some action here. The question is, does this bring us into hurricane zone? So, you know, we need to do a little astrocartography. And there's a full moon on December 6th. I'm going to check that out. And another full moon on January 5th. That's really late, but there it is. Interesting thing, Mercury squares Uranus December 24th. And that leads me to believe high winds. It may not be a hurricane. Maybe there'll just be enough wind to, you know, knock a few trees over the lines or something. I don't know. Let's go look at the astrocartography more closely. Come on. Now, each one of these full moons here reaches out for a month real strong, and sometimes even further. So, you know, when we look at the December 6th full moon, bear in mind, for a good now the Uranus station's on the 22nd of December, so that's within the reach of this full moon. Now, this full moon is unique because it has Uranus here opposing the rising sign from the 7th house. And there Uranus is got the south node near it. So this is, I need help. And Uranus opposing you lots of times is you're very concerned about Uranus things. And in the past I have said, well, this could be fear of hurricanes or earthquakes. If you have a little earthquake, then you have this feeling, you know, it's another one gonna. Now, it's turned out I've been misled. I misled myself a bit. And these are the other people over here. Yeah, so I'm gonna bite the bullet here and say this lunation that kind of alarmed me a little, because it also has Pluto down here on the bottom of the chart. Now this could be some Pele action. That's quite possible, is putting a little disruption in our lives. More likely it's something that happened to the other guys around Christmas time and makes us worry over our homes and makes us territorial, you know, that's what I'm kind of thinking right now. Okay, here's the 3/4 moon, December 14th, and I'm looking around to see if there's damage or after effects. This is just a week later. So I don't really see anything on the angles here. So I look for the new moon, December 21st. Now Uranus stations December 22nd. And what do we got? We got Saturn over here. He's the other, you know, that's the opposite of Uranus. Uranus throws things into chaos and interrupts things. Saturn, you know, says, hold things back. This means, could be cold. This could be the problem other people are having, which is Saturn, which sometimes is due to earthquakes. Saturn topples buildings and stuff. And it's on the other guy again. It's over here. And you know, we got Jupiter at the bottom of our chart. Our homes seem okay. So, you know, downstream, is there damage from this thing? You know, here's this new moon. We got to look at the astrocartography. Here's December 22nd, 1/4 moon in Hawaii. And again, I don't see Uranus, or I don't see damage. So I'm feeling a little better. Now here's the full moon. Oops. The full moon on January 4th says we're concerned with Mercury a lot, communication, transportation, but that doesn't really smack of a big Aquarius, Uranus disaster to me. Here's that December 6th full moon that, shouts Uranus action. Now here's Uranus on the bottom of the chart. Here's your home shaking and going into chaos for some reason. Earthquakes, something like that. It's running up through this area of South America here, which can be pretty unstable at times, folks. Yes. So there's a bad place for it. The other one would be where Uranus is on the midheaven, and that area says public chaos. There's the line, Uranus on the midheaven. You follow it down here, and there seems to be a lot more action over here. I mean, it's been going on for a while. So these two areas are more dangerous around Christmas than I think Hawaii is. And these may be the ones we're thinking about. Anyway, Uranus on the 7th, gee. In this case, it looks really dangerous because the dotted line's Pluto on the bottom of the chart, and Uranus is on the opposition. But here's the North Node on the rising sign. So I think we're okay for the holidays there. Other people are not. Now, you remember the business of Saturn making money at the cost of the environment. I've got to alert you people on the Big Island to what's going on here, because this is a disaster for Hilo especially. A trash incinerator. Oh boy, we're going to burn the trash and make money. And that's the way it all started. I guess it seemed like a good idea at the time, but here's a quote from the article. An evaluation committee, that included environmental management. By the way, environmental management is a lady named Lighthead Todd, who is in a lawsuit because she's not qualified for the job. And environmental management are not environmental experts, folks. But they had an evaluation committee, environmental management, finance, and legal specialists winnowed down the list of vendors of how to handle our garbage to 3. And, they're all technical. They call it RFP. That means they're putting out a bid. And these other vendors, a lot of them had components where they weren't burning stuff. They were dissolving it, recycling it, doing different things with it. But, they winnowed down these things, these experts from financing and legal matters, and they winnowed it down to 3 finalists. All 3 are incinerators, including Wheelabrator, who put in that fiasco, or tried to put in H-Power in Waipahu in Honolulu a while back. And by golly, I was very much involved with that. I was one of the key opponents to bring that situation down. They still got the H-Power built out there where the pollution is in Campbell Park. So they're going to issue another call for bids July 15th. And then an award will be announced in January. Yick, what's going on with this thing anyway? This got mixed up in my other papers. We've been terribly and systematically misled over pot. He apologized. And the Supreme Court just okayed same-sex marriage for everybody. Now maybe the gays will get out of the way and let us handle a real problem in the US of A, which is legalizing pot, huh? One of my most Akamai viewers on Kauai called me up and said, "That ink pen is screeching on the paper. I can't stand the high-pitched screech, screech." I couldn't hear it. The camera heard it, but I didn't. Anyway, I got myself a whiteboard now. No more screeching, hopefully. Here's the Here's the basics of it. This plan, like the whole H-Power thing that they consider a cash cow over on Oahu, take the trash, burn it in an incinerator. There's some coils in there. They flash the water to steam. Steam goes through a generator, makes electricity, which makes somebody some money. Okay, so let's look into this a little further. When you burn this trash, two things come out. Some of it comes out the smokestack, some comes out as ash. What comes out the smokestack? Well, it's a nasty mix. I got a Master of Science degree in environmental health and studied this all my life. And here's just even a short list. First of all, stuff like asbestos. It's not destroyed in fire. Asbestos is a mineral. Here's a hunk of asbestos. It's kind of beautiful stuff when you see it in a mine, but it's a mineral. So burning it does not destroy it. And boy, our trash is full of asbestos. All that old black wire in your attic on the two white poles, that electric wire, all the insulation is asbestos. Yes. They used to make an asbestos wall board over near Hilo, trying to cycle, leftovers from the cane business and make board with it. But the ants loved the cane and the bugs would come and eat it, so they filled it with arsenic. That was arsenic, excuse me. Okay, here's a beauty. Lead fumes. You can't destroy lead. Good example is they put lead in gasoline and run it through an engine, and it comes out the other side as a fume, a much smaller lead particle. And then the fume slowly cools and crystallizes into a tiny crystal, falls out on the side of the road. Well, Dr. Needleman found out, a dentist, that a little bit of lead in a kid's brain before your skull is full size, the lead goes right to the brain, permanent loss of IQ. The people who grew up in the cities where that lead from gasoline was all over the roads and the side of the roads, and it was lead in all the paint, the difference in IQ is like 10, 15 points to a kid who's reared on a farm or in the suburbs where they didn't have these pollutants. Lead is like plutonium to children. It is not destroyed in the incinerator. They're not scrubbing it out. It'll go into a fume, much smaller than cigarette smoke, and it'll go a long ways. And boy, you don't want that in your kids. The smallest amount, your kid's IQ drops permanently. Here's a funny one, VC gas. VC gas is PVC gas, okay? PVC plastic is burned, vinyl chloride gas comes off, colorless, odorless, gives liver cancer 30 years later. Yeah, they found out in meat markets in Florida. What's going on? All this stuff is going up in the air, and it's a windward place. They're going to put it out by the airport. It's all coming down on Hilo Town.